Howdy howdy, welcome to Hang the Critic with Josh Ball. I'm Josh Ball and this is Hang the Critic. Now, one surefire way to tell whether you're watching a Joe Dante movie is, well, there's two. If it says directed by Joe Dante at the beginning of the film, it's probably a Joe Dante movie. But if it has Dick Miller in it, if you don't know who Dick Miller is, I'll probably put an image up and you'll probably go, that guy! Up until he unfortunately passed away, I'm pretty sure he was in every Joe Dante movie ever made. Now, Joe Dante has two great passions, horror films and cartoons. Now you might think, that's an odd combination. I can't see that working when combined. You'd be surprised. One of his first great successes, he did a film called Piranha, and I saw the remake to that and was not thrilled. I haven't seen the original. But after Piranha, he did The Howling, and The Howling is the second best werewolf movie ever made. I will be discussing the best werewolf movie ever made in another video. It's genuinely frightening and disturbing, peppered with comedic moments and brilliant practical werewolf effects. The thing that I always say about werewolf movies, it requires gory deaths and gruesome transformations. Practical effects, I don't think werewolves should ever be done using CGI. I think it's blasphemous. And it needs to be rated MA or higher. The Howling is rated R, so it fits perfectly well. Mid-transformation, the werewolf pulls a real freak show expression. That's the thing about Joe Dante, the combination of the cartoon and the horror. Those sort of extreme facial expressions, they are really disturbing and it's very uniquely him.
Oh, Christopher. It's Eddie.
Dick Miller plays the owner of an occult book and antique store, I believe. The Howling bred a lot of sequels, which I to this day refuse to see. They all look awful, just embarrassingly awful. But The Howling is a brilliant movie, definitely see it. Then after The Howling, he did a segment in Twilight Zone, the movie, which I think is a very underrated film. I love the Twilight Zone TV series and I love the tone of that, but it's a very 80s version of the Twilight Zone. Bombastic and over-stylized. Joe Dante segment that he did, It's a Wonderful Life. It's a good life. It's a wonderful example of the most extreme to which he takes that combination of horror and cartoon aesthetic.
That's Sarah, my other sister. She was in an accident.
Dick Miller played a guy who owns a diner in that movie. After Twilight Zone the movie, he did Gremlins. Everyone knows Gremlins, everyone loves Gremlins. And I love Gremlins, I grew up on Gremlins. Strangely enough, for someone like me, afraid of everything as a kid, I was never scared by Gremlins. Well, I was never scared by the movie. When I was a kid, I went to Warner Brothers Movie World for the first time on the Gremlins ride, now the Scooby-Doo Spooky Coaster. There'd be Gremlins hanging from the ceiling, sticking their heads through the walls, and there'd be Gremlins everywhere, you can hear the cackle that they did. That terrified me. I was going like this, oh wait, help me when it stops. But yeah, Gremlins, the movie is genuinely brilliant. Marriage between a family film and a genuine horror movie. Dick Miller in Gremlins played Mr. Futterman, the next door neighbor, borrowing cars and all that sort of stuff. After Gremlins came Inner Space. And again, Inner Space, this is a brilliantly underrated movie. Again, it's a very 80s movie, but the effects hold up mostly. An astronaut played by Dennis Quaid volunteered for an experiment in which he's shrunken down with the intention of being injected into a rabbit. The lab is attacked and Dennis Quaid is instead injected into a random stranger, a hypochondriac played by Martin Short. It's a sci-fi comedy slash action adventure movie. Dennis Quaid, who's an underrated actor, I've always loved Dennis Quaid. I've always found Martin Short incredibly funny.
Oh God! Somebody help me! I'm possessed!
Dick Miller plays a taxi driver who Meg Ryan calls for. Meg Ryan's in the movie as well. Another movie which he did a few segments for, a sketch comedy film called Amazon Women on the Moon. It's a good movie. It's very hit and miss, but the hits are really good. Dick Miller was in a deleted scene from that one. I haven't seen The Burbs. Would like to. You know, Tom Hanks. I like Tom Hanks. Actually, Gremlins was a big success. Joe Dante was against doing a sequel, but he was also against anyone else doing a sequel because of his experiences with The Howling. So he decided to do it himself, to basically sabotage it. Every decision in the movie was to try and stop that from being a Gremlins 3. The upshot was Gremlins 2 was actually another success, but he got with his wish. There wasn't a Gremlins 3. While Gremlins was a family horror film, Gremlins 2 was a horror comedy. There was a lot more humor in it, and it was, again, a lot more cartoonish, stylized, and silly. John Glover, I love John Glover, and he was so good in that movie of playing just this obnoxious, rich asshole. It even got to the point where it was so self-referential that there was this scene, there's all these characters who are making fun of the rules, like, you know, eating after midnight and all that sort of stuff, and poking all these holes in it.
What if they're eating in an airplane and they cross a time zone? I mean, it's always midnight somewhere.
Dick Miller returning as Mr. Futterman, of course. Then there was Small Soldiers. Everyone's forgotten Small Soldiers. It was a perfectly serviceable movie about toys that have military chips put into them, which somehow made them robots that were completely self-aware. Yeah, there's some good solid moments. Dennis Leary, David Cross, Phil Hartman. Love Phil Hartman. Tommy Lee Jones, Frank Langella. I think it's Christopher Guest and Michael McKean. So it was almost a Spinal Tap reunion. Young Kirsten Dunst even. That's an underrated movie.
Hi, I'm Phil Fimple. I'm here to negotiate the surrender of the Gorgonzolas.
Dick Miller plays a delivery driver. Dick Miller was good at sort of working class guys.
You gotta watch out for the foreigners because they plant gremlins in their machinery. That's the same gremlins brought down our planes in the big one, World War II. Good old WWII.
That's all I got for this episode of Hang Critic. I hope you join us next time. Follow us on Instagram, follow us on Facebook. Keep watching movies, and I'll see you what... What's that? What? I think... Oh, the gremlins got into the YouTube algorithm. No! No! No!